Greetings, gaming citizens. Mike here. I'm getting really hyped for this game trailer. It's supposed to be the video game ever, so I can't wait to see how it plays. Wow. Eye cancer has never looked so profitable. Trailers and previews are a must in the entertainment industry. How else are people supposed to be sold on something if they don't know anything about it? Can it run well on Nintendo Switch? Oh, thank f***. Now, it's easy to just slap a couple of gameplay clips together and call it a day. However, good game trailers will not only grab your attention, but they will tell you everything you need to know about the game being shown. Let me clarify. I'm not talking about those extended gameplay showcases that, say, Nintendo will do for some of their most anticipated games. While those are fun to watch and are really in-depth, those are more live demonstrations as opposed to marketing trailers. I'm more talking about the kinds of trailers you'll either see as a social media ad, or even on TV, if anyone still uses those things. With that said, let's dive into the world of game trailers, and try to find what makes a trailer good, and what makes a Metroid Prime 4 teaser. For the first trailer, I want you to picture this. It's the end of Nintendo's first ever E3 press conference after the release of the Nintendo Switch. Feels like every Nintendo franchise got some form of representation, yet there was no Mario news to be found. This last trailer shows a T-Rex running on screen for some reason, and you are thoroughly confused. Then a few seconds in, you look closer. Holy shit, is that Mario's hat? Why did he pop out of a T-Rex? What is going on? The trailer then flies through the massive worlds you'd be traversing through and shows the main gameplay mechanic of capturing enemies with your hat that has eyes for some reason. You've already put your name in for 10 years of the game, roll credits. This is a trailer done incredibly well. It does a fantastic job of showing what about the game makes it stand out with its new gameplay mechanics, yet it leaves a lot to be discovered when you eventually play the game for yourself. Especially in those wide shots of the various worlds, it emphasizes how big the worlds are and how you're encouraged to explore every inch of them in the full game. It truly is a Super Mario Odyssey. Roll credits. Continuing the Nintendo praise train, let's talk Pokemon. I would imagine you wouldn't associate quality games and trailers with mobile games, but this is definitely an exception. On September 10th, 2015, the world was introduced to what would become a global sensation, Pokemon Go. For years, kids grew up wishing Pokemon were real so they could become Pokemon masters just like in the games. This trailer revealing the game perfectly captured the pathos of those people. You see all these people walking around searching for Pokemon, with indicators around them as to where the nearest wild Pokemon is. They throw in a quick shot involving what would be known as the Pokemon Go Plus accessory and jump back to everyone looking for Pokemon. Then you see people throwing physical Pokeballs at wild Pokemon. Rather than being a simple press of the A button, the future has changed to where you physically capture the Pokemon. The trailer leans in on the community aspect, with people catching Pokemon together, which would eventually become the driving force behind the game's wide appeal and popularity. Granted, it is a little misleading with the world being augmented reality as opposed to the actual game just using a smartphone camera, which is what AR actually is, but in this case, I'm willing to overlook that, as it looks cool aesthetically, and, let's be honest, we won't have that kind of AR for decades. Perhaps you're not making a trailer for a full game. Maybe you're showing off additional content that will be released for your game. Super Smash Bros. Historically has released trailers showing which characters would be added to the game, whether it was for the main roster or as DLC. There are very few games that will make people foam at the mouth at every gaming press conference Nintendo was associated with, but Smash was certainly number one. I won't go through every single character reveal, as that could easily be its own video. If you want it to be, let me know in the comments down below. So let's talk about a select couple of trailers that I think do the best job of being gameplay trailers. Back when Smash 4 was first introduced at E3 2013, holy shit, that was 10 years ago. I'm old. We were introduced to one of the first newcomers. This was huge because new characters were only really shown off via the Smash Bros. Dojo website for Brawl, so this was really the first time a cinematic trailer for a Smash fighter was ever shown. The trailer starts with a warning alarm, and we see Mario and friends at the Grand Canyon for some f***ing reason. The camera zooms up on a silhouette standing on a cliff. It's only until the helmet materializes and the eyes light up that we see Mega Man is joining Smash. The trailer then goes to a brief glimpse into gameplay where Mega Man uses his iconic Mega Buster to fire pellets and charge shots. However, this doesn't get him far as he gets KO'd really fast. This is where the trailer gets really good in my opinion. We go between shots of Mega Man's internal computer to see his different abilities, accompanied by how each move was implemented in the game. This cycling of Mega Man's in-game abilities, combined with the high-energy music, makes for a great demonstration of how he plays. The extra CGI shot of Mega Man using Flame Buster is a nice touch, and the trailer ends on that sizzling note. As the cherry on top, you see Mega Man on his stage with the Yellow Devil spawning in, implying that he has some sort of presence in the game. Excellent CGI cinematography, a brief but understandable demonstration of how the character plays, and overall, a great trailer. Byleth's trailer is the opposite of great. Let me clarify something. I'm not bashing Byleth's trailer because of personal bias. While I was not a fan of her being announced for Smash, that's not why I'm viewing this trailer as critically as I am. Let's take a look at Byleth's reveal trailer so I can explain in more detail why I don't like it as much. Byleth's trailer starts off immediately obvious. Forget any sense of mystery as to who the fighter is. Literally seconds into the trailer, you know who it is right away. While this isn't normally an issue, part of the fun of Smash trailers is figuring out who the character is supposed to be as you watch. One thing I'm impartial about is the trailer going into the style of Fire Emblem Three Houses as if it's an in-game cutscene. While it isn't really a gameplay clip or a CGI cutscene, it's a neat touch, so there's a bonus point right there. The rest of the trailer goes between the CGI cutscenes and gameplay, eventually showing Byleth's unique weapon style for their moveset. What confuses me though is that the trailer shows another splash screen for the female variant. The reason why I point this out is that every other newcomer that had a gendered alternate variant was shown in the gameplay portion of the trailer. Why make a whole other splash screen in that case? So, Nintendo has an okay track record with trailers. Now it's time to ask the question we all ask ourselves whenever in doubt. What about Xbox? Back in May 2006, Microsoft was at E3 showing trailers for their then new console, the Xbox 360. At this point, the 360 had only been out for half a year, so any news of exclusives would be pretty substantial for Xbox fans. Fortunately, Epic Games had been cooking something in the few years prior. Gears of War, a new exclusive from Xbox, was revealed with what is now known as the iconic Mad World trailer, referred to as such by its use of the song covered by Gary Jules. The trailer shows protagonist Marcus Phoenix in the ruined streets of Sarah, exploring the devastation caused by the Locust. Despite being an intense FPS, this minute-long trailer takes a more somber approach to show what the game is all about. It's a literal apocalypse, and Marcus Phoenix is part of the troops standing between the Locust and the end of civilization as they know it. The trailer ends with Marcus throwing himself into what looks like an abandoned building, but he quickly realizes they stumbled into the nest of what looks like a boss creature, and the trailer ends there. It makes sense that this trailer has been regarded as one of the most iconic game trailers of all time. It does so little, but tells so much. There's no gameplay shown, but in this case, there doesn't need to be. It takes on a more emotional and depressing theme to accommodate the environment present in the game, and it tells you right away the important characters and the inbound threat that you're fighting against. I've got to say, this is indeed a fantastic trailer. What about when a game beloved by millions is getting revived in stunning HD? Announced nearly 5 years before release, Final Fantasy VII Remake has one of the most highly regarded reveal trailers ever. Full stop. The trailer starts off pretty mysterious, with varying shots around a dystopian sci-fi city, although you don't quite know what the game is yet, as it intends to keep you on the edge of your seat as long as possible. At around 29 seconds, you can see a quick frame that reminds you of a certain girl from Final Fantasy VII, making you wonder if the mad lads at Square are actually remaking Final Fantasy VII. It isn't until about 50 seconds in that the pieces start to connect. The surroundings look an awful lot like Midgar. After seeing Tetsuya Nomura credited as the director, pretty much everything falls into place. Then everyone starts screaming at the back of Cloud's head after a minute and 28 seconds because holy shit, they are remaking Final Fantasy VII. This trailer gave everyone chills. The familiar music, the impressive visuals, everything about this trailer is incredible. However, I want to throw in some food for thought. Don't mistake this for pessimism, I also greatly enjoyed the trailer. My first note is that it was only a reveal trailer. I get it, people had been wanting a remake of this game since the dawn of time. But wouldn't it make more sense to show actual gameplay instead of a short film about how this game merely exists? If I waited years for a remake of a game and didn't see what said game looked and or played like, I'd feel like I didn't get much out of the trailer. My other note is about when this was revealed. The trailer was shown at E3 2015, yet the game didn't release until April 2020. My question is, why even show a trailer so far in advance of when the game comes out, especially when you were planning to show gameplay later that year anyway? Square did a whole gameplay showcase in December of 2015, so they theoretically could have held off until then to do the reveal. Of course, they probably didn't want to do that because E3 was such a huge opportunity for all the media attention, so they likely wanted as many eyes on the game as possible. Dead Space 2 instead decided that they wanted to have as many moms on their game as possible. In January 2011, the official Dead Space YouTube channel posted a 30-second trailer of mothers reacting to the gameplay of Dead Space 2. I would imagine the intent was to show how violent and terrifying the game was, but this trailer doesn't exactly do a good job of that. First off, you're making a horror game sequel. That alone should already tell you that it will be intense and violent. If you need to make a reaction trailer just to describe that, then your marketing priorities are not in the right place. Second, why moms? If you're trying to get people to buy a horror game that's all about these mature themes, maybe don't showcase how much parents hate it. One of the best forms of marketing is word of mouth, so you can imagine these moms at tea time telling their friends with kids about what they experienced and how video games are evil. Obviously, the game sold well, with sales doubling that of the first game, but I think it's safe to say this trailer didn't exactly drive those sales. The icing on the cake, though, is the contest that came with this trailer. Yeah, if you tweeted your mom's reactions to Dead Space 2's gameplay, you could win a custom skin PS3. I pity the person who actually won that, and I can only imagine how many moms were traumatized by this game purely for social media clout. That winner's PS3 will serve as a constant reminder of the mental sacrifice their mother had to take. Happy Mother's Day, I guess. This next trailer is just... I can't even do it justice by introducing it myself. I'm going to show you about a minute of the trailer, because this is best experienced without me describing it.
It's time to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of gum. Let's rock.
I had to make sure I was watching the right video because I could not believe this was a real trailer that a company made. But no, this was part of the official trailer for the Duke Nukem trilogy. Why did I only show a minute of it? Because the entire trailer is 4 minutes of showing the same logos for the 3 games to be included in the collection. No gameplay, no cinematics, just 2000s era YouTube video editing quality for a trilogy that was never actually released. You know it's depressing when your own video editing quality is better than a AAA developer's. Yeah, the only thing that came out of this dumpster fire of a game was Duke Nukem Critical Mass releasing on the DS in Europe, while the PSP version of Critical Mass, as well as the other 2 planned games for the collection, were cancelled. Fun fact, in 2014, the source code for the unreleased Critical Mass PSP port was discovered to be archived in the Library of Congress, indicating that some work was done on it. Looking back at the history of the series, I think this game being preserved is a blessing, considering how bad the DS game was. Speaking of the DS, let's take a step back to the Game Boy Advance and look at the trailer for Fire Emblem. It's a pretty elaborate trailer, so let me navigate you through this masterpiece. The trailer takes place at a round table with knights having a feast. One of them falls dead because someone put poison in his mutton. After all,
no man can be trusted.
Then it flashes gameplay for 2.5 seconds, and that's the end. Yeah, that 15 seconds was the entire ad for Fire Emblem on Game Boy Advance. What's funnier about this is that it was the first Fire Emblem game to be localized internationally, so many Americans' first exposure to the game was probably through this trailer. I have to ask, how in the hell does this sell anyone on a game? Why did it go from poisoning someone's food to not even 3 full seconds of gameplay? Imagine if video game ads took that approach today. I'm fighting for my f***ing life in here. Pre-order The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom to get a free bottle of Pepto-Bismol. Side effects may include nausea, vomiting, hearing loss, possibly death. When I was searching for other trailers to watch and talk about for this video, I came across a 2016 MMO called Lucent Heart. I have no idea what this game is about, so let's give this a watch. I have no words. I'm just thoroughly confused as to what this even was. It was just a bunch of lower quality player models doing the caramel dancing dance for a whole minute. No gameplay, I don't think. No information, just bad music, the bad trailer. If this has somehow sold you on this MMO, at least 4 people are willing to welcome you into the community with open arms, as it's somehow still available to download on Steam. Let's end things off with another question. Have you ever seen a trailer where you can't even figure out what's being sold to you? Look no further than this trailer titled Feel the Power of Pro. Throughout this trailer, we see what appears to be a flooded city. All the streets and shops are covered in water. When the trailer goes to the shot inside of a ship, I thought for a second that this was a teaser for a Titanic game. The trailer takes a glance at a fish tank where the uncooked fish rejoice that they can live another day. As the trailer goes on, you start to realize that the water is going down. Did someone unclog the city or something? When going through the supermarket, it finally occurs to you that time is actually reversing. At this point, you're left wondering what could have caused such a massive flood. The trailer gradually zones in on an apartment building and up to someone's room. It's at this moment we see the entire flood was caused by a man crying. What could have been so emotional? Death Stranding. He was crying at Norman Reedus holding a baby. Show the splash screen for the limited edition Death Stranding PS4 Pro, realize that you need a 4K TV for 4K, and scene. In hindsight, I get it. A game with an emotional story would surely have someone crying a ton, and the added realism from the PS4 Pro's hardware would logically exacerbate that spectacle. Death Stranding is not a game I would associate with emotions, unless if you count boredom from walking as an emotion. I'm sure Death Stranding is an experience that some people enjoyed. It didn't sell over 5 million copies because it was bad, I think. That said, I feel like this ad made it a little tough to find out what it was selling me. The best way I could describe my thoughts on this ad is it both makes sense and it doesn't. It makes sense because it outlines the subtle message that the PS4 Pro's hardware enhances the immersion of the player's gameplay experience. That's the message they were trying to get across. Good for them. Yet at the same time, it wasn't clear what was being sold to me until the very end of the ad, when I saw the game on the TV screen and the splash screen with the PS4 Pro system. Game trailers are arguably just as important as the game itself. While it may be expensive to fund a marketing campaign, a good trailer goes a long way. Years later, we still have memories of seeing iconic game ads on TV, both good and bad. Whether we like to admit it or not, they resonate with us in many different ways. For every Mighty No. 9 anime fan commentary, there's a Mario Odyssey reveal trailer. Even though we don't see nearly as many unhinged ads these days, it's fun to look back at how companies would push the envelope to publicize their games. With that said, I have one more trailer to show off. I think this one will definitely grab your attention. Yes, I'm working on my first ever show. While writing this video, I realized that it could be interesting to examine video game marketing through ads and their effectiveness. Thus, Point of Viewer was born. The series will be periodically uploaded in addition to my game reviews and other main channel content to add more variety to this channel. I'm hoping that once I graduate from university this winter, I can dedicate more time to this series, as I really want to see how far I can take this idea. Eventually, I want to aim for a bi-weekly upload schedule, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I hope you're as excited to watch this show as I am producing it. Aside from that Retrovember series I did in 2020 as an experiment, this is the first actually structured show I'm planning to work on, hopefully for the long term. That's all for me. I'll see you in the next one.